We bring in the guy who covers the Giants for us, Jordan Raanan. And, Jordan, we start off right away. Do the Giants have any interest whatsoever in Peterson or Charles?
Well, Jamal Charles, here's the thing. Can he play? I mean, this is a guy who's had knee injuries, couldn't come back. There's going to be major questions about Jamal Charles playing. And everything I'm hearing so far with the Giants is that they're trying to bring back this defense. They're trying to get that defense together, bring it back in, hopefully in one piece even. But in order to do that, that would obviously mean a long-term deal likely for Jason Pierre-Paul to make money for other guys. So it's hard for me to see them making a serious investment in a running back. So I would be very surprised if the Giants went in either of those directions, although I don't know if Jamal Charles is going to get any money. But, you know, an ESPN reporter, Jeff Darlington, said the Vikings, while, you know, they didn't pick up the option, which obviously who's going to pick up an $18 million option for a running back in the NFL? If Adrian Peterson was healthy and ran for 200 yards, I'm still not sure they still probably wouldn't pick up an $18 million option. So the Vikings are still in it with him, and he's heard in the range of $6 million plus incentives. So you could pretty much rule the Giants out right there, because right now, as things stand, Jason Pierre-Paul counting $17 million or so against the salary cap. They have about $13 million remaining, and $3 million or so goes towards the draft pass usually. So now you're looking at $10 million. They're already down. It's a very small number. They're not using $8 million or $6 million or $7 million on Adrian Peterson. So very, very doubtful that would be a move they made. I just wrote something that's going to be on the site soon. I put the odds at 10%.
So it's Perkins and then whoever they pick up as their running backs, because Jennings is gone now, right? So I would think
Jennings is gone. Vereen.
Right.
Vereen is still there. He will be the passing down back.
So that's the logic. That's the logical replacement, if you can even say replacement, because they were all there anyway, to what their running backs are going to look like rather than a Charles or a Peterson.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that their veteran running back is definitely a possibility, but I think you're looking at, running back is not a position that teams want to invest heavily in. I think, a $2 or $3 million option is more likely. That's why I think even Jamal Charles has more of a possibility of being that guy, because he's going to be a cheap guy, a flyer. Let's see if we can get something out of this veteran. And this is a really, really strong draft of running backs. So I wouldn't be surprised at all to see the Giants dip back into the running back pool in this draft in any rounds, really, because there's just it's such a good running back draft. Someone even told me it's one of the best, maybe the best that they've ever seen. So,
Talking with Jordan Raanan, covers the Giants for us. Jordan, the thought behind franchising JPP, was it just a fear of him going somewhere else that would hurt them, or do they feel that he is invaluable to them?
Look, pass rushers are valuable in this league. Jason Pierre-Paul is not a great pass rusher, but he's a good pass rusher. And good pass rushers that hit the free agent market, look at Olivier Vernon. Not a great pass rusher, a good pass rusher, a very good all-around player. Granted, he was a little younger, a little cleaner in the injury history, but look at the money he made. Jason Pierre-Paul was going to get paid massive amounts of money if the Giants did not franchise tag him. So they did that, and now they're going to try and negotiate. I mean, they were trying to come to terms on a deal, but the two sides, they weren't really making that much progress there. So they figured, look, we want to bring this whole defense back, and that's really the focus. And then people should, kind of reassess what they're expecting from the Giants this offseason. The focus is on bringing that defense back and making that the focus of this team. From everything I've heard, I wouldn't even expect them to go out and get a top offensive lineman. That doesn't seem to be the way that this is heading right now, and this is trending. The Giants are going to concentrate on that defense, not that they're not going to add an offensive lineman, but they're not going to go to the top of the free agent market and pluck one of the guys that everyone thinks are the premier free agent offensive lineman out there. So, the Giants tagged Jason Pierre-Paul, and now they're going to try and negotiate a long-term deal. And really, if you think about it, the advantage is now in JPP's court, because, look, they have till July 15th, I think is the date, to negotiate a long-term deal, right? Mm-hmm. JPP could say, okay, I'm not in a rush to get that deal. Let's work it out. we could do it till July 15th. But for the Giants, if they want to make some more moves this offseason, they need to get it done by March 9th. So now JPP's side has a little leverage in that negotiation there and a little bit of an advantage and say, hey, you want to make it work? Here's what we're looking for. And that middle ground is probably now tilted a little bit more towards JPP than it maybe would have been a couple weeks ago.
So what do you think they try to get in the first round then?
I think the first round is really a crapshoot, but I expect them to look at playmaker. I think by playmaker, I'm leaving that open to tight end, wide receiver, even running back. I think, a guy that I'm going to keep my eye on, especially this week at the Combine, Christian McCaffrey, a guy everyone knows from Stanford. A player like that, I could definitely see the Giants leaning in that direction because they need weapons on offense. We saw their offense this past year. It was not good. So any way that they can create mismatches, advantages, using their running back possibly as line him out wide as receiver, get him matched up against linebackers. That's something you just didn't see with the Giants. So don't be surprised if they go in that direction. A young linebacker, a young quick linebacker is also, I think, a possibility. So, they're picking 23. So this is a very deep draft at certain positions, and some of those that I just said, running back, very deep. Tight end, a good tight end group. Defensive linemen and linebackers, another good group. So those are positions I think that the Giants will probably lean when it comes to the draft. Cornerback is a position that the draft is loaded. There's going to be about 6 to 8 cornerbacks in the first round of this draft. Now, that's a position that the Giants don't need. So it'll be interesting because there'll probably be some good cornerbacks, which gives the Giants some leverage of teams that maybe want to move up or get those guys. So we'll see if Jerry Reese can make some moves. And his history is not to make many moves. Actually, in general, forget just the draft. He's never traded down in the draft, ever, in any round since he became general manager. It's an amazing fact. Every time I say it, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Now, very quickly before we let you go, any interest in the draft in pursuing a quarterback, the next one after Eli? Or do they feel that they have that?
No, they do not have that. First of all, they don't have a quarterback under contract as it stands right now. So, no, they're definitely on the look for quarterbacks. That's something I even heard during the season this year, is that the Giants were out there sort of looking and scouring for quarterbacks. But as you've heard, this is not a great quarterback draft. Trubisky is a guy from North Carolina who's a kind of an unknown one-year starter. Deshaun Kaiser, the guy from Notre Dame, a lot of up and down there. These are projects. So it's going to be hard for the Giants to actually find Eli Manning's successor in this draft. I think the only possibility early in this draft is if somehow Deshaun Watson was sitting there at pick 23, I think the Giants, liking the way that the traits that he showed, the fact that he's a leader, the fact that he's supposed to be a smart, cerebral guy, a guy who has shown improvement and grown. Granted, he's probably a bit of a project at this point, but I think that's the only one where they would have to sit there and seriously contemplate. And I don't think Mitch Trubisky has any chance really of being the Giants at 23. So very slim that they're actually going to find a successor to Eli Manning. I think more likely they find a mid-round guy, again, maybe in the Ryan Nassib ilk, where they get him in the middle rounds and say, okay, well, let's see if this guy develops into something. And in Nassib's case, that didn't work out for him or the Giants, and now he's a free agent coming off elbow surgery.
Jordan, good stuff. Thanks a lot, man.
You got it. Anytime, guys. Have a good one.